Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. My name is Fran. I'm one of the co-hosts for this show, and we're so glad that you're here. We've got a guest with us this week, and oh my goodness, are we going to consider some things? If you are a female in the house, we are going to consider some things. I'll just leave it at that right there. All right. Sit back and let me dare say, enjoy the conversation. It's going to draw up something in you, but I know that you will be so highly encouraged. All right. We love you guys so much. Enjoy the show. Okay, Angela Snyder, here we are back in the studio with a super fun guest.
Yes. I'm so happy this person is here because I know her, I love her, but most of the time when I see her, it's through things that she's posting. And I forget that sometimes you watch so many cute little videos of somebody that you feel like you're just really with them every day. And then when I'm really with her in person, it's like, oh my gosh, you're really here. You're not just on the screen. She's like our famous friend.
Our famous friend, real life, in the flesh. Rachel Mitchell, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm sitting here like, do I have spinach in my teeth? Because
nobody
just drink a shake.
Nobody knows.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah. And you don't. Yeah. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Angela, why did you want Rachel to be a guest? And the timing of the year is also perfection. And then also, just as females and females that age, it's also just a wonderful time to talk about all of this. So give us some context.
So I don't think a day has gone by since I was a teenager where I was not self-conscious of how I look, how I see myself in my clothes, how I feel about myself, knowing, oh my goodness, summer's around the corner. I, at 40-something years old, finally got out of the mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm so this, I'm so that, in negative ways. I'm too fat to try on a swimsuit. I don't like how I look. I have, I've talked, Rachel's been on the podcast before and we talked about this, but it bears repeating. I was in one of those funky moods about 2016, 2017, and I saw her on my Instagram. And it was probably 11 or so at night where it's like you're just too tired to really think about things and make the best choices.
Oh, and Angela, let me just pause right here and say, you have bought many things.
Oh,
in
yes.
the middle of the night.
Yes.
That you forget that you have bought off of the old Instagram.
You know, there's people that say take your debit or credit card and put it in the freezer in a cup of water and let it freeze. And then by the time it thaws out, decide if you really want to make that purchase.
Genius.
However,
I should let Fran do that over my spending before I hit click on Amazon, talk to Fran about it first.
But everything saves my card now.
Yeah.
So, like, it's saved in everything. Like,
it's too
would you
easy.
like to use the card that ends in blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. I don't even have to plug anything in.
I like it. I like it when I have to add the CVV code because I never know what that is. Then I'm like, okay, maybe not. But okay, so one night I'm in this, I'm so fat, I'm so dumpy phase. And I see this cute, bubbly, excited, happy girl who loves Jesus and is like, let's talk nicely to ourselves. You're amazing. Her name was Rachel Mitchell. Somewhere in that caption it said, and you can do this too. Reach out. I'll show you how. And I sent her, I know I've got to have it somewhere.
I've got to find. I should have found it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I tell Rachel all the time, if I had been you, I would have hit delete block. Because whatever I sent her was like,
oh, I know.
Eeyore.
I can tell you what you could send
tell us what I sent you.
It just said, I need help. That was all it said.
There was more to it, probably. But it was just so pitiful. It was like, I'm sure I sounded like the best or worst project you'd ever stumbled upon. But let me tell you why I love her so much, in part. I could go on and on about that. Rachel combines faith and fitness. Lisa Turkhurst, Made to Crave, is something early on that you taught me about. Just, there are so many things that I say to myself that I would never say to one of y'all, that I would not let y'all say to yourselves. Just learning how to love and steward well what God gave me is something you've taught me. We're going to get into all this in just a minute. But the thing that I love the most that's new that I really want to talk about today is since January 1st, Rachel has had us in this accountability group where we're not starving ourselves skinny. We're eating more food than we have ever eaten. And I'm happy dancing all over my house because I'm eating more food, so I'm not hangry and mean, and I'm growing muscles.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this. Can we start off with this question?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, and we talk about this a lot as females, is where did our relationship with food begin?
Mm-hmm.
Because somewhere in our childhood, in our teenage years, somewhere we bought into some kind of mindset that somebody, some industry, some supermodel, some, society really caused us to believe that says, I shouldn't eat.
Right.
Food is terrible. And we just felt like in order to be accepted by society, by a man, by whomever, we have to starve ourselves and,
or feel guilty.
And feel guilty.
Like we've laughed about going to Freddy's and we don't need to, I got to eat salad for the next 3 days.
It's horrible.
So dumb.
Like, I don't know if that's like still a current thing for young people as they're growing up. Has that changed? Or let's just start with our relationship to food and this mindset, this belief system that we just found ourselves in and we're trying to untangle.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I mean, obviously, like scientifically, if you eat a certain amount of calories, you're going to lose weight, right? We know that. But I think that was just our generation is the worst. Like I'm 43, you're 48, you're 54. Our generation is the worst because we grew up during that. You mentioned models. I never really thought about it, and I should probably do like a study of this because I love history and sociology. But like we were just taught for me in the 90s and the 2000s, eat less. Like I remember my mom doing. I said this the other day. Like she did this crazy diet when she wanted to drop like 10 pounds. She would eat tuna, Melba toast crackers, and mustard for dinner every night for like a week. And
you remember that soup?
I remember cabbage soup. Cabbage soup.
That's
diet.
what it was.
Yeah. So like I don't know why. I think, socially, like if you look at our history, we stopped working as much. So people started to put on weight and they're like, I don't like it. And then we were sold by industry. People just made money off of the diet industry. And so you asked, I think for our generation, and like Angela said, we've been doing this, like eating more since January. And it is people our age. And they're like, this is so hard. I didn't realize I was so stuck in this mindset of less. And you asked the question today, do people still struggle with that? I pray, I hope not as much, but I think the health and fitness industry has definitely moved so far away from that, like so far away from it. We have to have food. And you can look in the Bible and God's word is filled with the fact that, here, I gave you food to eat it.
Talk
thrive.
about that.
Yeah.
Get into our relationship with food. God made bread.
Right,
breaking bread together.
Yeah.
Well, let's just stop right there.
I'm so done.
Thank you. Done.
Yeah.
God, thank you for the bread.
Keto helped me take some pounds off a few years ago, but it wrecked my mindset because I don't want to be afraid of a slice of sourdough bread.
Yes. And so even like, you said I've been doing this for 10 years. I've kind of been all over the map myself. And like, I've been really honest about that. Like I started out with this really healthy mindset about food. I learned how to do it, what my body needs. But then I kind of got stuck, hit a plateau. And I was like, I got to do all the things. Like I got to do keto. I got to not eat dinner. I've got to fast for like 24 hours, 3 times a week, And it was just like, I personally went extreme. And the keto thing is what really brought me back to God's word. And I'm not slamming keto. Like I know, like some people medically like need that, but most of us don't. Like most of us
A lot of us are looking for what is the new quick trend, cool, easy, miracle way to drop these 10 pounds
and
for
keto
summer.
works fast, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
And when I was trying to do keto and the like extreme fasting, which there are health benefits to fasting, my hair was falling out. Like my hair was falling out. And I didn't have any energy. Like I couldn't lift the weights that we're lifting now. And I just thought, God, this is not how you want me to live. And Psalm 104 verses 14 and 15 just like wrecked me. And it says that he created grass for the cattle and I'm paraphrasing, but like basically produce for man to eat. He created bread that sustains us, and wine that makes human hearts glad. And I was like, look, you just didn't leave anything out. Like there's like fruit, veggies, carbs, you know, like treats. And I just like, if God made it, it has to be good. So like I was avoiding oranges and strawberries because I was trying to do keto, and that felt so wrong. It felt so wrong, you know?
It's just like sometimes you just feel like I can't eat anything.
Yeah.
Because depending on the day in the week, somebody is saying, don't eat fruit because it's got this, that, and the other. And then you just feel like I don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't have the knowledge. And so I just buy into what anybody says. And then you're just afraid to change it until the next thing rolls around. And you're like, this is ridiculous.
And another thing that happened to me is I tried so many things that then I was merging them together and not realizing. And then I was gaining weight. Because if you take a little bit of this program and a little bit of that program and you're not following any one program.
Yeah, and I'll share some tips before we get done. Like for somebody who's just like kind of feels that way, like I don't even know where to start. Just tell me what to eat. Like I'll share some like remind me, remind me,
simple, basic, practical.
Yeah. Because that's everybody's $1 million question. How should I feed my body? Is it the same as you? Is it different than you? Whose voice am I honestly listening to when it comes to what do I need to eat?
Yeah. And I'll say, you know, like not to be over like super spiritual, but I just started to pray. Like God, lead me to what is healthy, what is good, what honors you, and is sustainable. And so that's where I got into macros.
That's it right there.
That's the prayer.
Say that one more time. Can you repeat that? Did that just fly out of your mouth?
Just like lead me to what is good, obviously, that honors him and is sustainable, because I think it's all there. Like it is all there, and we can't figure it out. I've been super scient-y about it lately, and I've finished a nutrition.
That's the college professor in you. She's also a college professor.
Yeah, part-time. But and they just like it is figure outable. It is figure outable. So like whoever is listening, if you feel like sort of insane when it comes to nutrition, it's totally figure outable. So don't give up.
I love that so much. Okay, so I want us to talk about how macros, the word macro is something I've heard about for years. I think about bodybuilders, you know, with their chest puffed out, strutting around the gym. And I'm like, well, I don't care about a macro. I don't know what that is. What is a macro? Same. What do I need to know about a macro?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're already eating macros. Everybody's eating macros. It's just protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Which, you know, again, we can get super technical. Protein, your body needs it to build muscle and repair. Carbohydrates are energy. Fat is good for like insulation and hormones. Okay. So you got to have all three.
I love the fact that we need fat.
We need fat. Like we need fat. Like your brain more than anything needs fat.
She said insulation.
No, it's such a funny word. You're like,
and hormones. You mentioned hormones, and that's such an important, you know, as women. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yes.
I've never been taught, you know, as you get older, your hormones will also come into play here.
Yeah. And I think a lot, and I'm 43. I've not gone through menopause. If you guys have, kudos, because I hear it's horrible. But I also think it doesn't have to be as horrible if we're not trying. Like, because, you know, a lot of times menopause hits and people just go extreme. Like, I got to do whatever I got to do to get the weight off. And I mean, you don't want to gain a whole lot of weight, but at the same time, give your body a little time to adjust. It's adjusting. And hormones are more than just like, you know, estrogen and testosterone. You have hormones that regulate your appetite and things like that. And so if you are doing all these extreme things, your body is going to push back against what you want to accomplish.
And our body listens to how we talk to her.
Yeah.
I had a moment a week ago where I went, and it felt so ridiculous. But I was in front of my mirror about to work out, and I thought, hold on a minute. I'm going to go out of my way to say something positive about myself. And it felt so weird. And it made me realize I'm so critical of everything about myself. And this is so funny saying it out loud. It reminded me of was it Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live? Like, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. I'm looking in the mirror going, well, look at those legs. They're strong. We're not going to be ugly about them today. And look at those arms. You know, it sounds so dumb saying it out loud. But I was like, I'm just going to start
Well,
that's a strong person right there.
And but part of our mindset has been my body has to look a certain way instead of feeling a certain way. Because I can promise you, at 54, you can't help but age. Your physical body will age, and it's not going to look like it did even 10 years ago for me. It's not going to look like it did. And so just thanking your body for what it can do for you, just giving the Lord thanks as you look at yourself in the mirror with maybe what you would go back in time, look at that body and say, I'm disappointed in that body because it doesn't look a certain way.
And what is our end goal? Do we really see ourselves on the cover of a magazine in
when
a swimsuit?
You're 80? No. At the
right now.
At the end of your life, it's like you have to determine what do I want to
do? What is success?
What is sustainable? And for me, like I said to somebody the other day after a really hard workout, I was like, listen, it felt so good just to hear and feel my heart beat so hard and strong.
Like, I'm alive.
Yes, like just thank your body for what it can do today. So to stand and look at yourself in the mirror with a different set of eyes.
It was weird.
That's a whole new concept because, again, we bought into some mindset that says,
I'm never good enough.
I'm going to have to look like I did when I was 25 for the rest of my life. It's not possible.
It's so futile, however you want to say that word. Yeah. And, like I told Milo this morning, we were talking about something on the way to school. That's my child. I said, God, we were talking about being kind to other people. And I said, someday I do believe God's going to say, hey, what did you do with the time I gave you and the people I gave you? And I think the same thing about my body. He's going to say, what did you do with the body I gave you? Did you trash it? Did you beat it up? Did you talk ugly to it, or did you use it? Like, did you use it for my glory and your good? And it's just a shift. Do I still want to look good in a swimsuit? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I hurt my body, or my mindset goes astray in the pursuit of that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, I'm a very emotional eater.
Yeah, I'm a bored eater.
I'm just an eater. Yeah. I'm in all the eaters, all the eaters. But I have noticed since we've started this program in January to pay more attention to how I feel. So I'm telling myself, if you want to eat 12 boxes of Sour Patch Kids, you just knock yourself out. But how are you going to feel afterwards? And knowing that nothing is off limits. Yeah. But when I eat sugar, it's fun for a minute. But then when I crash afterwards, I'm like, okay, remember how this feels. Yeah. Is this really how I want to feel? Am I able to do things that matter while I feel this way? Anyway, it's just interesting when it's not, I can't do it.
Right. It helps me with like all that processed food, sugary food is like, I read a book one time and it may have been the Whole 30 people. I can't remember, but they said that like they make it that way. They intentionally make it addictive. So you'll buy more and eat more. And that just makes me angry.
That makes me so mad.
It makes me angry. And so like really helps me with something like that. Sometimes
we're going to get them back by not doing it.
Right. Yeah. We're going to eat all the vegetables and help the farmers.
Listen, somebody please give me a garden,
I know. I haven't done mine
You're basically a botanist, friend.
I've changed gears. I'm now all into trees.
That's right.
Okay. How do you feel about the mindset of I'm going to work out so that I can eat this?
Yeah.
Because I can justify a lot, and then I'm like, "Well, Fran, you hadn't done anything. Yeah. You just that's not solving anything." Yeah. I don't do that a lot, but we were at a lunch yesterday, and I was sitting with this colleague who she runs marathons. Like she's so fit and active, and we had a pretty healthy-ish meal. There was a lot of sauce and heavy cream things on it, but the dessert rolled around. And it was like imagine like taking a French toast stick, a cinnamon French toast stick, and cutting it up. And then it had ice cream and some kind of caramel syrup. And I said, Ashley, are you going to have dessert? Because I was like, if you are,
I will.
And she said, oh, yeah, I've worked out today. And I thought, you know what? I do that.
Uh-huh.
I think every female can relate to that. What do we do with that concept?
I think that, even if it's in the reverse, sometimes we eat and then we say, oh, I have to work out, which is essentially, if you really like zoom out, you're punishing yourself.
Right.
And it can happen in the reverse. Like, I'm going to work out so that you just punish yourself before you eat it. And not that workout is punishment. I don't think that. I love it. It's joyful to me. I think we were created to move. But I think if you do zoom out and you look, like, would you encourage someone else to do that? Sometimes I have to ask myself that question. Like in our group this week, our nightly check-in, I said, would you talk to your kid's body or talk about your child's body the way you talk about yours? Like, if you take yourself out of your situation and you say, if Angela said this or did this to herself, would I encourage that type of behavior? And if you say no, then there's your answer. Yeah.
It's very convicting.
Yeah.
Or just self-aware.
Right.
Just becoming aware. Okay, go back to macros.
I'm so glad that you're going back to macros because I'm pretty sure I took us off track there.
No, this is all.
Stuff.
I promise you, everybody listening will be able to nod along with every bit of this.
Back to macros. Let me just say again.
Yes.
You're already eating macros. What we are doing is just proportioning them in a way that benefits, like, takes us closer to our goals.
Does everybody have a different goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It depends on your age. It depends on your current weight, like what your activity level is, like where you want to be, need to be. And, for most of us in this group that we're in, we did need to lose like 5-10 pounds maybe, but most of us wanted to build muscle. So, this is where it got really scary for a lot of people. You have to eat a lot more than you think you should.
And going back to the hormone thing, like, I know as I'm headed into menopause, I keep hearing, I'm not there yet, but I keep hearing, you better build some muscle and be ready. So I'm like, I got to get ready. Yeah. I feel like I'm training for whatever this thing is that's going to happen one day.
I had this conversation in the street with somebody the other day.
Yes. Yeah. It's so the idea of building muscle, even my son was like, Mama, you need to be careful. You need to do more legs and not arms so you don't get weird looking and bulk up. But I'm not.
You look amazing.
Thank you. But it's just funny, the concept and the idea that people have. Yeah. It's not like we're drinking egg whites every 2 hours and strutting around the gym.
Oh my gosh, no.
So talk about what we're doing and why it works.
Yeah. So most of us, and this is true for most women that I work with, most of us are not eating enough protein.
Tell us how many grams. It blows my mind.
And give us options for protein.
Right, okay? Yeah.
And not just chicken.
No, okay. So most women, they say you should eat like your weight in protein. So let's say if I weigh 130, I should be eating 130 grams of protein a day.
I weigh significantly more than that, and that is a lot of protein.
Yes, it is. It is. So that's why let me step back a little bit. First, it's important to say, like, how much are you already eating?
The fact that you said that.
It's true.
It is true.
I am buying egg whites and adding them to my scrambled eggs.
I was thinking, oh my God, how much do I weigh? And oh my God, like, I feel
like
a lot
of protein.
A million.
Yeah.
I need 1 million grams.
No, you don't.
I'm trying to make friends with cottage cheese. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's the new hot food.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Good. So don't let that freak you out. If you, you just
first of all, go get on a scale.
Start where you are. Let's say that. If I were to say, like, start tracking your protein, 120 grams.
And I was maybe getting 60, 70 grams.
I know I'm not getting
that. I have to work at this.
I'm in awe of how hard it is for some women. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. But protein is, your body has to work harder to digest it. Obviously, like, your body doesn't create protein, so you have to feed it protein to have muscles and, like, repair and things like that. And so, like, that's why I'm always like, okay, protein, 30 grams of protein at every meal, She's
the best coach, and every day she sees what I'm eating. And it holds me accountable.
Yeah.
I'd have to start lying.
No.
I'm tempted sometimes to be like, you want to know the truth or the Pinterest version?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, like this morning we talked about protein. For 30 grams at breakfast would be like 2 eggs. I do a half a cup of egg whites and 2 chicken sausages. It's not like a crazy amount of food. It's really not.
But let me tell you something. That sounds like a lot to me.
Does it?
I don't eat a lot in the morning.
Well, I'm shifting.
And I'm like, you ate what for breakfast?
And sourdough. I had sourdough.
Here's what I commented on that, though. I love breakfast food, but I'm not hungry in the morning like hungry. I am later. But I could totally have some scrambled eggs and sausage in the afternoon for my snack.
Well, and if you're not hungry, that's a sign that your metabolism is not working for you.
Okay.
Too.
My stomach's growling as we're talking about this.
I'm ready for lunch. But and those are all things. It's such an individual journey. Like it really is. Like I could work with somebody who's like, I'm hungry all the time. I can't fill myself.
That's me.
Up. And then somebody who's like, I ate like 1,200 calories today, 1,000 calories. We gotta fix that.
When people post in our group and they're like, I just always struggle to hit my calorie goal. I'm like, let me have some of those calories because that is not my situation.
I was under yesterday and I was like, what is wrong with me? Because I'm always hungry now.
Okay, the other thing I want us to mention,
do we feel good about macros?
Wait, let me say protein. Protein. That was what I was gonna say at the end. Like if you don't know where to start, like aim for 30 grams protein at each meal. If you have a snack, that's 120, sorry, my math, 120 grams, and then vegetables. Like that's like fiber and protein are the best place to start. Like
Beans.
don't worry about like how many carbs am I getting. Don't worry about my fat. Like if you're filling up on protein and fiber rich foods like vegetables, like rice, quinoa, things like that, you're not going to be able to eat a sleeve of cookie dough. Like,
that's what I love about this. And that's where I wanted to just mention before I forget to say it. We use MyFitnessPal app. And it's so easy when you put in your food, it shows you what your macros are. It's not like you're having to learn some new way. It does it for you. And when I've stopped trying to restrict calories and that mindset of I can only have, 15. I don't even think about that. What I'm doing now that's working for me in my mindset is I'm thinking, okay, I have to figure out how to get in at least 100 grams of protein and I have to. And by the time I eat an apple and some almond butter and do this and do that, it's like, there's no room. I'm not hungry. I don't have any room left to go eat a bag of Oreos or whatever it is.
I mean, you could. That is, I mean, I'm a binge eater, like by nature. Like I've struggled with that since college. And so, in the right situation, like I said, if I'm bored, if I'm home alone, the guys are gone, and I'm like, I could sit down and start eating that and just not stop because it doesn't. Those types of foods, obviously, like God didn't create it, and God created food that makes you stop eating. Like truly, if you think
like
about
an
it,
apple,
like an apple, or like a 2 boiled eggs, or like the chicken or beef or whatever your protein is. Like it actually signals your body. Talk about hormones. Creates it's a healthy hormonal response. Okay, and so that's where I probably could eat 2,000 calories and then go eat like a pack of Oreos, but it would just depend on the situation. It would be very difficult though, very difficult because I think I would want to throw up.
That's interesting what you said though. I've never binged on a bag of apples.
Nope.
When you think about
no,
you can't. No.
How do thinking about food and the fact that we're heading into summer, it's easier for me to want to eat healthier in the summer because food just, I don't know. I mean, apples are always around 12 months out of the year. Fruit is always around, but it's fresher in my mind. It's fresher. I don't know that
it's light when it's hot outside.
Yeah. I want to eat healthier. But I also, people are on vacation and we're all coming and going and doing different things. Is it hard? Like, I think I just always get scared in that, I'm great for a week, but then life happens and I can't keep up with, or I just get tired and I don't know what to buy at the grocery. And
that's me all the time.
Give us some
you just
easy
get bored.
ideas.
It's like, like I know people listening, like I think people listening are sitting in that space of just considering what they think about food, their relationship with food. What do I eat? How much protein? Like they're just all sitting here going, okay. Now, practically, if I want to go to the grocery store and start very small and not get scared and overwhelmed, give us some ideas for, here's maybe what you eat. What are you planning on eating for today? I know we can't spend a ton of time on on the like what a week looks like,
Yeah.
but we're going to direct people
Yeah,
to
you
you
can-
on social media.
Yeah.
I
For
just
sure,
want to
sure.
say, remember when I sat in the parking lot and ate almost a whole rotisserie
Oh, yes,
chicken a
ma'am.
month ago?
I brought up that story just this
or not
week.
a month ago. It was like a
Love
year
a
ago.
rotisserie
Yeah.
chicken.
Remind me to tell you a really funny story when we stop recording.
We started calling it barbarian chicken because
Barbarian
I
chicken.
I didn't even get home with
You got
it.
your protein.
I ate that whole, anyway. Okay, so that's
like,
a good choice.
Help us think about, because again, we want this.
Yeah.
What does this look like for you today? You ate your eggs.
Now I had a shake today.
You had a
I
shake
had like
today.
a rice cake with almond butter and banana.
Okay.
And
you can do other fruit, Fran,
I
if
know,
you don't like
know,
bananas.
Bananas
right.
gross
I
me out.
know my family doesn't like bananas.
okay.
And then I had a shake with spinach and more banana.
What's the banana? Because why?
Carbohydrates
Okay.
around it's really good source of carbohydrates, and your body processes it for energy very quickly.
Okay.
So I don't crave a banana later in the day, but I always eat a banana around my workout because I know like my body's going to use it immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
And then for lunch, I will probably I don't know, big salad with lots of protein. Salads, you have to be careful because you can make them super unhealthy very quickly.
What makes a salad unhealthy?
Like sugared nuts or, super, super fatty processed salad dressings. Cheese is fine, but like usually if you go out to eat, they're giving you probably about 3 servings of cheese, which I don't tolerate cheese well, so I usually leave it off. But nuts, fruit, eggs, bacon. I eat bacon on my salad almost every time. I love it. But then like the dressing, I'm only gonna have a little bit because I don't really need a lot of it, and if you get dressing while you're eating out, it's unhealthy. Like plain simple.
So what do you do when you're out at a restaurant and you order a salad?
Yeah. I just usually ask for the cheese to be left off because there's always tons of cheese and I do not like it. Just my body says no. I get the dressing on the side. Sometimes I ask for extra protein because a lot of times that's just an easy way to do it. And if you're eating a salad and you ask for extra protein, you're not like, oh my gosh, I just ate like 3 pieces of chicken, which is not what it's going to be. But like you're just eating it slower and getting it, it doesn't seem so overwhelming.
It's been a fun shift for me to start asking for extra chicken or even steak on a salad. It feels so like, what am I doing? But it's low calorie, it's dense, it's high protein.
Yeah.
So then you're like, why do I feel like that's weird?
And then I would usually ask for some type of carb, if it's not on my salad, which I put rice on salads. I put quinoa on salads, like roasted potatoes. I just throw it all in there.
Mention potatoes real quick. They are not a bad food.
They're not a bad food. They're wonderful.
French fries are bad.
Well, that's different.
but even you can make those in a good way. Like we roast them at home, and Henry's always like, these taste just like French fries. So
what about the dressing? Are you doing how do you feel about restaurant or any like fat free?
I'll eat it. No, don't do fat free.
Just regular.
I love blue cheese and ranch, and so I would order that on the side, and I just use it sparingly because it's not going to taste any different if you dump the whole thing on there or if you just use like a third of it, because they do give you probably 3 servings of dressing.
Yeah,
everywhere you go.
Okay, what's for dinner tonight? Give us an
we
example.
We will grill because it's so nice outside. Sometimes I have a glass of wine. I still do that. I will grill burgers, so like 85% burgers, fat, lean. You know what I'm saying. I don't eat processed bread. I either eat sourdough or make my own. So my carb won't be a bun. It will be like roasted potatoes or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And some type of vegetable.
Okay.
She does a beautiful burger in a bowl that inspired me to do this. Talk about that real quick.
It's just a salad with a burger on it.
It's so good.
Yeah, but I make it like a burger. Like I'll sometimes put ketchup, mustard, and pickles on it, and onions. I love onions. But yeah, I get the same satisfaction. I don't like a burger bun.
I throw onions and mushrooms in the skillet sometimes and just put it. It's like
want.
Everything in a burger.
Yeah.
And then the ketchup and the mustard, you're just missing the bread.
Yeah.
Okay, for the next few minutes, let's talk about exercise. Again, it's one of those things that I don't know. We have a relationship with it, just like we do food. And somewhere along the way, we've, especially if you're older, you've had seasons where you were really good. You've had seasons where you struggle.
Yeah.
Could be your health. Could be that you had a child. Could be that you're aging. You're just tired, whatever. How do we develop a good relationship with exercise?
I think you make it a habit. As unsexy as that sounds,
Mm-hmm.
you just make it a habit, and it's the same with all the things we're talking about. And I know like life throws you curveballs and you get sick, or, kids have like travel ball games for like weeks or whatever. But if it's a habit, it's so much easier to implement and stick with, even when life throws you a curveball. Like during the holidays, like I typically work out. You have to rest too. But like if you work out 4 to 5 days a week, whether that's a 20-minute walk, and I'm not talking about like, you don't have to go do a HIIT class or a spin class or like lift 50 pounds, just move your body. Like God made us to move. And so it's not punishment. We're just really going back to what he intended for us.
2 things I love about this program we started in January is we're lifting heavier weights.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know that I can do that. And I'm lifting 20 and 30 pound weights like a beast. I'm like, who am I becoming? It's so much fun. But also the steady state cardio. Yeah. My knees hurt. I don't want to jump. Sometimes I'll laugh to Fran on Boxer. I'm like, well, so-and-so's doing this, but I'm not, because I'm 48 and I don't have to.
I don't jump.
I'm going to march in place. But we've learned about 20 minutes of steady state cardio. Talk about that real quick, because that's so good.
That's just steady state cardio is like, I think that, again, we were conditioned to do HIIT. Or like just crazy.
Kill yourself cardio.
Kill yourself with cardio. And
I'm not doing that ever again.
Do that. Like,
that was our generation.
Yes,
it was like it
jazzercise.
It was aerobics. It was step aerobics, and you had to get that heart rate up to whatever and maintain it for like 45 minutes, and to unwind that just. Not so hard. It's like, I don't feel like I'm working out.
I'm not doing a burpee ever again.
No, I don't think I will ever. That puts a lot of stress on your body, which can like raise cortisol and make you hold on to weight. But steady state is where they say zone 2. Your heart rate would be in zone 2. So like resting, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 would be like you're maxing out. 20 to 25 minutes of steady state, just at that mid-level. For me, it's like, what do we talk about? Like 120, 130, something like that.
And my watch will tell me. If you have an Apple Watch, it'll tell you when you're in that zone.
Yes. It just actually just kind of, it just like you're burning fat during that time, especially if you are lifting weights and you're eating healthier. Basically, steady state is just taking care of what you're not getting done with your nutrition and your weightlifting. And so like it's just a little extra burn, but it's sustainable. You can walk briskly for 20 minutes a day every day for the rest of your life, right? And I remember there was an old doctor that I used to see when I was younger, and he was like, you got to stop running, you got to stop riding bikes, you just need to walk, fast. And I was like, looking back now, he was right,
It sounds so contrary to what we learned
we've
for
learned,
so long.
or what we've been sold. I think that's the big thing, what we've been sold. Because if you look and you think about it, people are encouraging that type of behavior or trying to sell something. And I make money doing what I do. I sell my services, but I don't want you to have to buy my services for the rest of your life. Like, I want you to learn enough that you can keep going and feel confident in it. But also, you said something about exercise. I had a thought about exercise.
Who knows?
we were you and I were talking before we came in, but like if you don't enjoy it with your exercise and with your nutrition, you're not going to do it.
Right.
Like you're not going to do it. And so like if you're starving yourself to try to get somewhere, you're not going to stick with that. But if you're eating more whole foods, nutrient dense foods, and you feel good and you have energy and you're pooping again and like you're sleeping, you can keep going with that and be happy about it. So same thing with exercise. Find something you love. Find something that you love that challenges you. I will say, like at our age, we got to be lifting weights. Like we just have to lift weights. It will help you lean out, but we need that strength, like you said, for aging.
And I will say this, I have eliminated my afternoon caffeine that I could not live without until a few years ago.
Because you have more energy.
I'm eating well, but I'm not suffering through it.
Yeah.
I've found enough that I enjoy that I'm like, oh, I'd love to have an apple with some almond butter.
Right.
Well, and again, we've been sold an idea that, coffee's glamorous.
Yeah.
And,
All the
I
sugar,
love coffee.
I do too.
But I don't, and just from an age standpoint, I can't have it in the afternoon anymore anyway. But, you just think, oh, this is great. Let me go get this. And it's really just trash. What you're ordering, I'm sorry, but what you're probably ordering from one of the major chains or anywhere, if you knew what was in it, you'd probably back away from it and go, this is not good for me.
And I think that if you cut it out for a matter of weeks and then you go back and have it, you're going to realize, oh, that actually makes me feel worse.
Yeah.
Like it actually makes me feel worse, not better.
And if anybody's listening and is intimidated by any of this, let me just remind y'all, hot mess over here. I've told people, I've not done this perfectly. I've rarely completed a program. I did complete the last one, and I tried to quit 3 times, and Rachel would not let me. I was like, I think I'm just, she was like, no, you need to finish this. I was like, I know, you're right. But I'm either the most consistently inconsistent or the most inconsistently consistent person she's ever coached, and she has not fired me.
Well,
so there's hope for all of us.
And who I am today is a result of the messy middle, like the struggle, you know? So, I mean, nobody gets to the point that you want to be without the mess. Like,
do the circle the mountain verse.
Oh, yeah. That was Lisa Turker's early on. Yeah. Deuteronomy 2 verse 3 says, you've circled this mountain long enough, now turn north. And listen, I'm still circling mountains. Like, listen, I am still circling mountains, but one by one, God just made them crumble. He like helped me turn north. And like, it's a messy process. Like, you're not going to get to where you want to be without the confusion, without the doubt, without the slip ups, without the friend who says, get up, keep going, you know? So it's just, if you're struggling, that's okay. Like, that's okay. It's not meant to be perfect or easy.
We are better together. And I'm so thankful for you and how you point us to Jesus.
Yeah.
And you give us community with each other to keep going.
Yeah.
It matters.
We'll put it in the show notes, but how can people find you if they're like, okay, I need to see this girl, follow this girl, stalk this girl. Where can people find you?
I am most probably present on Instagram, but I love to talk to people through email. I love to like share resources and things through email. So at Instagram, it's just Rachel J. Mitchell. It's Rachel. And then I do have a blog. So if you go to my blog, you sign up for my weekly devotion and you're in my email list. So it's racheljmitchell.com. Yeah.
Good recipes in that blog.
Yeah. Simple recipes. I am not a fancy, healthy person.
Well, and what I appreciate is the fact that you're approachable. This is doable. You're honest. You'll help people. You want to hold people accountable to what's good for them and not just, hey, this is what we're doing and it all looks the same. And I just, I think for people listening that just feel overwhelmed or afraid to start somewhere, that you are a safe place for them to take that first step as they navigate food as well as exercise. Because ultimately, we're, like you said at the beginning, the Lord has given us this body and we have to choose every single day how we treat it, how we speak to her, what we're doing. And I'm just grateful for you.
Let me share one last thing. Romans 12:1 and 2. But for like, does God do this to you? Like, you are just stuck on a verse, a passage, something. I've been there for forever, for the last year. I mean, like, I just keep coming back to it, and he keeps telling me new things. I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and of course, Romans 12:1, present your body as a living sacrifice. I think we can do that out of guilt, almost, instead of worship, which he tells us to do. But just like in the last 2 weeks, and I kept focusing on that word sacrifice. Like, sacrifice, that sounds painful, right? But if you go back and you study sacrifice, what it meant to God, you were presenting the best. You were presenting like the most perfect. And that's how he sees you. Like, that's how he sees you. That's how he sees your body. Like, so don't do it because you want to punish yourself or get to a certain goal and then go back to whatever you're doing before. Do it because God already values you. Like, he already values your body. Can it get better? Sure. Can it get stronger and healthier? Sure. But just as you are, if you start presenting your body as a sacrifice to him today, he sees it as beautiful. So, like, that wrecked me. So, yeah.
Amen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So helpful, so encouraging, and so good. All right, everybody. We love you so much. Thanks for listening to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Rachel Mitchell. We adore you. Deeply appreciate you. All right, don't forget to check out the show notes with every episode. Everything that you want to know will be found in the show notes. Also, guess what's new? on the Apple podcast. If you are listening through Apple, if you click on the bottom left-hand corner, looks like quotation marks, there you'll find the transcript for the entire episode. How about that? All right, you guys, next week is our final episode of this season. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.